Good morning, everybody. It's Serafina, and I'm here with your daily tarot and astro insight. So this weekend is particularly important, I find, because we have the full moon in Virgo on Friday. It's actually at midnight here on the Pacific coast. And then on Sunday, the sun moves into Aries. This is what marks the spring equinox. So what is an equinox for those of us who don't know? An equinox is the midpoint between the solstices. The winter solstice is the longest night of the year, and that happens in December. And the summer solstice is what happens in June. I think it's June 20th, and that is when we have the longest day of the year. So the equinox is the middle point between that, and that means that we have equal day and equal night. So it's a great time to be able to celebrate balance. It's a great time to be able to acknowledge everything we've gone through and everything that we are moving towards. And in this particular equinox, which is a spring equinox, of course, we're celebrating life. We're celebrating sexuality. We're celebrating life coming up from the underworld after a long winter. So Aries is very related to that juvenile, expression of passion, of love, of enthusiasm. So this is why it's really related to like this sparky energy. And Aries, on the astrological wheel, if we think about it, the sun has done its entire trajectory from Aries all the way to Pisces. And that's one synodic cycle. That's basically what 1 year is for us, right? And so if we think about the sun's trajectory through the entire zodiacal signs with all the aspects meeting up with different planets, it's a different sun. And that means that you are a different person as well. And so then when this sun, which is traveling through Pisces at its last degrees right now, eventually drops into Aries, it's kind of like it represents a new moment of conception or a new moment of being birthed, right? Because Pisces, as I mentioned, is very boundless and it's very like out there in the spirit realm. But once it enters Aries, it's kind of like that spark of life that comes towards us. So, just keeping that in mind with all this Aries energy that's going to be coming in very soon. Not only that, but also we have the full moon in Virgo that's going to be culminating on Friday, right? So all aspects Virgo are going to be highlighted, whether it's regarding our physical health, our eating patterns, our structural patterns, how we relate to others, our relationship to the earth. And I'll be talking more about that tomorrow. But I just wanted to mention this, that we have two important dates this weekend. One of culmination of a full moon and one of the beginning of the astrological wheel year, which I find that is really important because, like I said, it's like a conception day. It's a spark of fire. It's a spark of fire that sets off the rest of the astrological year in motion. Okay, so let's get into the tarot. I would like to call upon the spirit of the universe that loves us unconditionally. I would like to call upon the spirits of this land, of this ocean, and of this island, and I thank them for their presence and for holding the space. And I would like to call upon my team of light, my guardian angels, archangels, my higher self, and my ancestors, and I thank them for their presence and guidance with this collective reading. Okay. Beloved spirit of the universe, what loving guidance is there for the collective today? We have the Five of Swords. What further guidance is there for the collective today? We have the Seven of Cups. What further guidance is there for the collective today? We have the Four of Discs. What further guidance is there for the collective today? We have the Prince of Cups. Okay, and let's choose one more card to complement. What further guidance is there for the collective today? sanctity. Through offering, even the most mundane problem can become a sacrament. We have Hanuman there. Through offering, even the most mundane problem can become a sacrament. Interesting. Because I am seeing that it may be a little bit of a difficult day for some of us. The Five of Swords indicates us having some sort of an argument or wanting to get away with something by being right. And focusing so much on being right that we lose our inner peace, our mental peace. And it may have to do around us being able to choose something or wanting to choose something. Because the Seven of Cups usually, it indicates idleness. And this is why we see that the water is murky and green. And it's because the water is not flowing. And so I feel that we could be having some mental torment. I mean, this is called defeat, right? And in the Rider-Waite, we usually see a guy who has two swords and he's looking away at his opponents that are walking away from him. Yeah, he defeated his opponents, but at what cost? So this is usually a card of like, pick your battles. Pick your battles with your loved ones or with your co-workers or even with yourself, right? And be able to make clear-cut decisions, being able to be clear in the way that we are communicating, because swords are all about communication too, right? And then we have the Four of Pentacles or the Four of Discs, which is here, it's called power. And this card usually comes up when we need to either, number one, stand our ground, or number two, be able to let go a little bit. In the Rider-Waite, we see somebody that's holding four discs that are really strong that way. And, four in numerology represents stability. So us being able to stand our ground and being able to have a level of reassurance, right? So what I'm interpreting from today for the guidance for today, and, also, let's go back to here. It says, even the most mundane problem can become a sacrament. So it could be that today we are encountering like little problems that maybe don't seem so little at the time. But if we're able to offer them up as, an offering and be able to find our own sanctity in that, which is what the Prince of Cups comes to say, then we are able to find more inner peace, or we are able to find more harmony with those around us. So once again, Five of Swords is pick your battles, because not all of them are always willing to be fought. And at what cost are you doing it for those around you? Are you disturbing the peace? Because there's a little bit of idleness or an inability to make a decision, or, just not wanting to budge from our perspective of how things should be. And I see it like that with this Four of Pentacles, right? It could be us either standing our ground, or it could be us needing to let go a little bit and, let go of what holds us, that we think safe. It could be perceptions, or it could even be something material in the material realm. And then we have the Prince of Cups, which in my opinion comes here just kind of like saying, let's soothe things a little bit, because the Prince of Cups is somebody who's still learning how to use his emotions in a way that is constructive for everybody, right? He comes and he has this like ideal notions of what love or romance should be, and he can bring a good message. He could be a great messenger, but sometimes his intentions are not always the best, are not always the wisest, unlike the King of Cups, who has already reached a level of maturity, right? And so I feel that I think it's beautiful to be able to vocalize it that way, that even the most mundane issues can be seen as offerings. If there's something that's coming up for you repeatedly, and just be like, hey, I don't really recognize or know why this pattern is coming up for me so much. I'm going to make this as a little symbolic offering to the earth or to God, and see how I can transform it that way, because apparently I can't solve my own problem with my own consciousness. And this is something that I was thinking about the other day, is that, You know how they say that you can't solve the same problem with the same mindset that got you in the problem? And basically what that is you elevating your consciousness. It's you being able to have a new perspective towards things. So when people say that they have a paradigm shift or that they're having an awakening, basically what that denotes is a shift in consciousness. So I always find that that is ultimately something that I strive to do with different aspects of my life, because, you know, if not, we're just going around in a hamster wheel, and that is not productive for anyone. So how do we break this endless loop that sometimes the Eight of Swords speaks about, for example? How do we break the loop of, you know, endlessly going through the same issues? And sometimes we think we're actually solving them, but we're just kind of like re-traumatizing or re-wounding ourselves. One of these ways can be by actually making an offering and being like, Creator of the universe, I actually have no idea what I'm doing here. Could you please help me with this? Or reaching out to a friend to grab another perspective, another, you know, point of view towards this. And once we're able to see things from a new light, this is when the change of consciousness actually happens and we implement that into our life. So yeah, I feel that that is most of the guidance for today. Let's pick a card from another one. I think today we're going to go with the White Light Oracle. For those of you that would like to see, this is what it looks like, by Alana Fairchild. Okay. Beloved Spirit of the universe that loves us unconditionally, what loving guidance is there for the collective today? What loving guidance is there for the collective today? We have number 6, Shekinah. What I do know about Shekinah is that she is like the female counterpart of God in the Judeo practice, right? So it is said that, for example, Archangel Metatron can be seen as like the masculine side of Creator, and the Shekinah is seen as the feminine side of Creator. So let's read a little bit about the Shekinah. The spiritual worlds want to help you resolve your worldly concerns. It is safe for you to rely on Spirit as a loving, protective, helpful, and practical presence able to positively affect all areas of your life, including facilitating the resolution of physical problems. Do not limit your spirituality to concepts. Instead, apply your higher knowledge and principles, grow your wisdom, and live your path. Acknowledge your value as a person, as a soul, treasure the gift of your path, and let your spirituality integrate with all facets of your life. So interesting, because, you know, right off the bat, we did see that we're going to be having, you know, worldly problems, as I say, of physical problems. And it says, do not let your spirituality, do not limit your spirituality to concepts. Instead, apply your higher knowledge to these principles. So yeah, we already know that we're going to be having some, you know, problems today. Something is going to come up where we're going to be maybe a little bit petty or idle, or we're not going to be able to make a decision, or we're going to want to be right with something. And we're going to have to like either let go of our perspective. And I feel that this card is actually confirming that it's more of a let go, and not only a letting go, but, you know, giving it as an offering to higher realms, right? And it says the spiritual worlds want to help you to resolve your worldly concerns. In the esoteric Jewish tradition of Kabbalah, Shekinah is a sacred feminine, the capacity for and experience of spirit entering the soul of a human being. Hey, that's interesting, because we were just talking about Aries being like the soul that's traveling through Pisces and entering the first house, you know, kind of like a soul that's incarnated. When a soul is approaching the sacred experience of Shekinah, the ego has given way to some degree. There is a degree of inner space and a heart willingness to surrender and receive, so that spirit can infuse the soul. The soul becomes more luminous with white light. We resonate more with spirit than with ego. We feel like our true selves. When the soul becomes Shekinah, the holy dwelling place of the Spirit, our experience is very different to the ego-driven way of living. We slow down and accomplish that which is meaningful. We feel connected to all that is, so that we are inspired to do what we can to help according to our tendencies and talents. We co-create rather than compete. We accomplish our aspirations because we are no longer in our heads, but practicing our spiritual path daily. Our practices resonate with our hearts, increasing our awareness, love, presence, patience, commitment, and peace. Our spiritual practice are our life giraffe when the oceans of life become wild, and our magic carpet when we feel stuck and need inspiration and freedom. To embrace the Shekinah is to embrace action, to commit, to engage, to walk our talk, and to be the light we want to see in the world. The ideas that nurture and inspire your heart are important, but the actions that transform hesitation, fear, and doubt into boldness, trust, and confidence are essential to bring those ideas into life. Wow. I just keep on reading because it's so spot on. This oracle brings notice of an opportunity to apply your spiritual principles. You're encouraged to consider how you can live so that your inner beliefs and outer actions are in alignment. Well, okay, so it's speaking about us coming from a place of integrity, because lots of us are wise beyond our years. We have incarnated various times. We have been around other people who are wise, but there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom, right? Knowledge is knowing better, wisdom is acting better. So basically what the Shekinah card is asking us to do is to actually apply all these spiritual and, principles that come from wisdom into our daily lives. So yes, there may be a little bit of an altercation of us wanting to keep our ground, of us having to go through like a difficult time in our head today, maybe being idle, maybe being undecisive, not letting the emotional waters flow and be abundant. And it's asking us to let go of our power, to let go of these restraints of what we think makes us powerful, with a new approach, with a message of love, with a message of, purity of intention, and making these offerings up to God so that we're breaking the cycle, elevating our consciousness. And with that, we are actually applying the spiritual principles which we talk about, which we've read about, and which we know better, and we're actually going to be doing better. Okay, everybody. I hope that this was useful to you. Remember, if you would like to book a reading, just let me know. And I will see you here tomorrow. Bye.